Hey, what's up guys? So today let's look at the next step of our application where we are going to create the patients. Okay, so far what we have done is we created the entire CRUD for locations, okay, where the doctor will be going. And now in this, what I want to do is basically the flow will be that when the receptionist gets a call from someone, a patient, right? He or she will basically take the details of that patient, and then based on that, the appointment will be taken, right? So this is the form. Obviously, it's a 4-field form, but there is a lot of things going around. Let me show you the database first. Okay, I have. So this is the patients table. I have two models created for this particular functionality. One is the patient and the second one is settings. I will come to the settings table, why I required it, need that. Okay. But yeah, let me first show you what is happening. So let's say our patient name is John Doe. His age is 21. Okay. And weight is, let's say, 70. So I hit save. For now, what I have done is redirected the user to the locations field page. But yeah, obviously we eventually will not be doing that. But what have we done after saving in the database? So settings table, what has happened is the next patient ID has changed from 1 to 2. And the patients table now shows the information. The first thing is patient ID. We are trying to create a unique ID for the patient so that when on call, the patient can give this number, and accordingly, a new case can be created for that particular patient. That's the whole premise or the idea behind it. Okay. Name, phone number, we are taking from the form. The year of birth is something which I'm calculating. So because the age for the patient was 21, what I'm doing is I'm calculating the year of birth. Okay. It will be too tricky to ask the exact date of birth, but obviously when you go to the doctor, you do mention your age, and I don't want to save the age because the age is not going to change, right? So what is a better option is that we keep the year of birth. So in that way, what is going to happen is in reporting also we can see a trend in the age by using this date of year of birth. Sorry. Okay, the weight is like this. Visit count, I haven't created I haven't incremented yet because just the patient got created, but when the case will be created, right, the idea is that the visit count will be incremented. And the last visit is obviously a timestamp which I have set to default. So let me show you the migration first. Let me close out things. Go to database, migrations. The first is a patients table. This is my patients table. Patient ID, name, phone number, location, year of birth, weight, visit count. Last visit is the use current. Okay, but I'm still a little dicey about this use current. I may change it because if updating the patient again changes this last visit, then I would have to remove this. I don't want that to happen. This will only get updated when the patient is coming to the clinic. Okay, so that is something which I need to figure out, but that's not a big change anyways. Okay, so that takes care of our patients table. And then the settings table is, this is something which I have taken from experience of Drupal, where I have a settings table and I save key value pair. Okay, I save these small values into this thing, and whenever it is required throughout the application, we just query that. Okay, again, this is something where I may choose to save, make this as a text field rather than a string, so that I can even save JSON data to it. But for now, this is fine. Okay, so these are the two migrations. I have respective models for them. So this is the patient with the fillable stuff in here. Cast, last visit, I have done it to timestamp. Settings is very straightforward. It has a fillable key and value, nothing else. Okay, so now what is happening with the routes? So I have a patient add and I have patient's post request. So the add, let me open up the patient controller. The add route is basically showing the patient add TSX, which is the page which we will be showing when the user is hitting this URL. And then we have the store method. Okay, I'm trying a little bit of this PHP 8 or the written types. I'm still new to it, but yeah. So yeah, in this store method, what are we doing? In the store method, we are first validating the request. These are basic validation rules which I have applied. I haven't taken the location as of now. I think these are the details which can be taken during the visit, but yeah, we will eventually get that into the form. The form needs to be tweaked a little bit. I'm working with my friend on the entire form which he takes because there are some other informations as well. But yeah, the thing is we get the validated data over here, and then I have a service called patient service where there's a method called create patient, and I'm passing this validated data to that service. And then when everything is done, I'm returning the user to the locations page, which for now is wrong, but we will eventually take the user to the patient's listing page. Okay. So let's see what we have in the create patient function. So as we saw, we are passing the validated data. That's fine. Okay. And yeah, in this service, I'm creating an instance of the settings service as well. I didn't do that as a constructor because I didn't think I will require the settings service on all the functions inside this patient service. So I haven't added it into the constructor. I thought it is not very intuitive. Okay. So yeah, I have this instance of the settings service. This logger can actually go away. I don't need that anymore. Then what is going to happen is I am creating the patient. I'm incrementing certain things in the settings field. So I have a database transaction here inside a try catch method. So I'm starting this DB transaction. Yes. Okay. And then what I am doing is I'm calling the settings service to get the next patient number. And this is basically the settings table, where I'm storing the next patient ID. Okay. I want to keep this simple. I don't want to do an entire count and see what is the last ID and then take that, because the patient table can grow. So this is a simple way to do that. Okay. So we get that number, and because it is the next number, so which means we start with 1. When the first patient is created, we increment it. Okay, so it becomes 2. So I can directly take that value. I'm creating that patient ID over here, which is the year, month, and then the patient number. Okay. Then we have the name, phone number, pretty usual stuff. The year of birth is where I'm using Carbon to calculate the year of the date of birth. Okay, so now subtract years, the age, and we should get that. And then the weight. Okay, everything is created. The patient object is available to us. And then in the settings service, what I have done is I have incremented the last patient number. So let's quickly look at the patient service once again. Yeah, so I have 2 functions. Get next patient number. This is basically querying the table with this key, which is next patient ID. I created a private variable for this inside the class because I was kind of using it in multiple functions. So I thought this is better. Obviously, you don't need to do it. It's not a mandatory thing, but I did it like that. Okay. So yeah, we are querying the table where key is this. I'm plucking the value. I know this is going to be first because if you remember inside our migration settings table, the key is unique. Okay. I know it is going to be only 1. Okay, let's move on. So this is where I get the next patient number, and the increment, what it does is it is calling this function. Okay, it gets the number and then it updates the value with +1. That's as simple as that. Okay. So right. So we get the number, we create the patient, we increment the number, and then we commit. Okay. So all 1, 2, and 3 queries are within our transaction. especially this is an insert and this is an update. I want this two things to happen, otherwise it should not work. Okay, so db commit is done and then we return the patient. Let's go back to our controller. I haven't taken the patient as of now because I don't need that, but yeah, just to be so that the service method returns something, we are returning the patient object. If we require it, we can take it, but I don't need that here. Okay, I'm just returning this response. So this is how the backend code is structured. We saw the migrations, we saw the models, the controller, and also the service methods. Now, let's look at the front end code. That is quite simple. I'll open up the tsx file. Okay, inside this, okay, this is again not required, so it's a good code review while I'm walking you through. Right, I have almost copy pasted the entire location add form. Okay, so most of the things were taken from there. I have the form object. This layout styling is still carry forwarded. I have the on finish, which is our form submit. Okay, get lost. Okay, so we have the form submit, which will call this function. Okay, then we have the template, the divider, add patient thing. If you see, we can again refer back to it, right? Then we have the columns, form has started over here. Then we have the name, phone number, age, weight, and then our save buttons, right? That's about it. So the form is quite straightforward. Only 4 fields. I'm thinking I will add the location as well, keeping it an optional thing. But yeah, that's how the form is generated. The form in the submit function, which is on finish, I'm taking that value and pretty much sending it to the patients.save. Patients.save, as we saw, is the store method inside our patient controller. So as you can see, the beauty of InertiaJS is that you are able to so quickly reuse a lot of code, and it gives you that SPA kind of thing. And the basic work was behind the API, or rather the backend, where we did the entire data modeling and other stuff. So yeah, this is how the flow will work, where we are adding the patients. In the next video, I'm going to also introduce the flow where the receptionist will ask between an existing patient or a new one. So if it's a new one, this form will be shown. But if it's an existing patient, right, we will change the flow a bit. So those things are work in progress. But yeah, the basic thing is here. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.